All right. It's nautical. That's about what I can tell you is it's all nautically themed for summer. It's limited supply, so of course they were out of everything like within 45 minutes it was like gone. And the things that I was even considering, I was just like, I just wasn't like, yeah, I've got to have this. This is something I have to pick up right now and get. And the girl was like, well, it's limited supply. And I was like, okay, it's clothing, it's cups, it's fixture, light, little, tchotchkes and stuff. It's just stuff with a pretty little label on it, wrapped up. And is it, no, if it's what you like and what you want, I'm like, it's go for it then. But for me, I just, I wasn't really into it. So I last night I saw an article and I was thinking, I'm going to go live and I'm going to talk about this because I was like taken back and I knew that things were going on and I kind of knew how things were rolling, but this whole Target thing had me kind of thinking. And then I read this article and I was like, Target's got to do things. Hello. Target's got to do things just like any retailer. And my friends are coming on here. You sell or you're all consumers. And so I read this article. It talked about brick and mortars versus e-commerce. And I was taken back by how many businesses are going out of business or are cutting down their brick and mortar and they're moving to e-commerce. And I was just like, and I thought, I've been to our mall and our mall is getting to the point where it's pretty, there's lots of stores that are empty and, it just doesn't feel like the malls of the 80s. So those of you from the 80s, you get it. We were mall rats. We were loving the mall and it's just not like that anymore. So I wrote down some things and I'm going to bear with me. I'm going to look down. I'm going to read some things for you because some of these things just really, really, took me back. So here's one thing. It said over the past couple of years that brick and mortar retailers have shut down their square footage, or they've really broken down their square footage. And there's been a huge surge in 2019. So in 2018 there was a big surge, but it's jumped like. It doesn't give statistics, but it just said, it's jumped tremendously in 2019 and it's going to continue to do that. So here's the part that I was like, the numbers, I'm a numbers person, so bear with me. It said, after 100 years in business, Lord & Taylor closed their flagship store on Fifth Avenue. After 100 years, they closed their first store. And they've closed 10 more since they closed their first store. That is, it gives me goosebumps just to think that 100-year business has closed their brick and mortar. They're still in business. They're still in business. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay, here's some more. Southern Grocers, that oversees Bi-Lo, Winn-Dixie, and Harvey's, have closed 94 stores. Loft, Ann Taylor, Dress Barn, and Lane Bryant, which is a conglomerate, they've closed 667 stores. Payless, you guys have heard about Payless. Payless, 2,500 stores. And the list goes on. I'm just going to read it to you real quick. I'm not going to tell you the numbers, but Foot Locker, J. Crew, Abercrombie & Fitch, Chico's, Henry Bendel's, Victoria's Secret, Christopher Banks, Vera Bradley, Charlotte Russe, Children's Place, Destination Mommy, H&M, The Gap. The Gap is closing all their stores. The Gap. Okay. I'm sorry, I got to take a moment. The Gap was my store. Growing up, that was my store. And that just kills me to see that. Gymboree, Macy's closed 8 stores, 2 of them in California alone. Sears, Penny's, Kohl's, Lowe's in Canada and the USA is closing 51 stores. 51 stores in 2019. Lowe's. That's telling you something. Lowe's is closing stores. What do we get? We get lumber at Lowe's. Z Gallery, Things Remembered is going out of business totally. A bicycle, Performance Bicycle, beauty brands, Elf Cosmetics, Shopko, Family Dollar, and Starbucks. Starbucks is closing 150 stores this year. Okay, so I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a minute, and I'm going to talk about sales because I'm in a sales business now. I was a teacher for over 20 years, loved it. I got to a point in my life where I needed financial freedom and flexibility, and teaching did not offer that for when I needed it to be there for my son. So I went into multi-level marketing, direct sales, providing a product, a good product that people use, that I've used, that works. Maybe not for everybody, but what product is for everybody? Anyway, so I looked at this and I'm like, all these brick and mortars are going out of business. What's going to happen? People are left to purchase products and services in a way that you need to know who you're getting things from. And the reason I bring this up is because in Target, and I'm back to Target because this is really why this all kind of came about, where I'm like, you know what? I just have to get it out. I have to get it out, get it off my chest. I was walking around and they're introducing a new, I know really, what will we do without Starbucks, without our Starbucks? If mine closes down on the corner, I'm going to be one pissed off mama, let me tell you, because it's between my kids' school and home. And there is not a day where I don't stop at Starbucks. Okay, I admit it. Anyway, so in Target, I was walking around and they were doing employee education in the beauty department. If those guys that know me know that I am not going to Target without going through the beauty aisles just to look what's lipstick, that's me. So I'm cruising and they got this little table set up. There's a couple people standing around. And there's this woman and she's talking about it and she was talking loud. And I thought, well, you know what? Some things caught my ear. I was like, hair care? Those of you know me, no, I'm all about hair care. So she started saying things like collagen and all these things. I'm like, she's all anti-aging. I'm all, So here I am. I'm looking at brushes and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to turn on my little recorder because I really want to listen to what this lady's saying, because she was training, and that's what I do in my business. And I help people, and I train them on how to use the products for their hair. And she was basically doing this. She was either a buyer or a manager or something for Target. And so she was basically introducing these products and how you share the products with your guests. And it was funny. So it's like your guests. So at Target, we're guests, by the way, if you didn't know that we're guests. So, anyway, so she's telling them about this. And meanwhile, I'm looking at these brushes and I'm like, I'm listening to her, but I'm like looking at the brushes, doing my thing, and just the things that she was saying. And I thought, she's teaching people here in this store how to use these products, which are products that are very, very similar to what my products are. And she was basically telling them the things that they need to tell their customers. And I thought, I don't know about you, but when I go to Target, I don't have somebody that's there in the shampoo aisle or the makeup aisle or the clothing aisle telling me about how to wash the garments, how to, how to use the products properly and all that. And she was basically telling these people how to instruct us, the consumer, the guests that come to Target that are going to look at these products. And I just thought, you know what? And it dawned on me, brick and mortars are closing because not only do people want to research themselves and find out about products themselves, and they don't want to be told. And if they do want to be told, they want to go to a person. They want to talk to somebody. And so for those of you that might be anti-direct sales, network marketing, you think it's icky and greasy and gross and all that, I get it. Because believe me, I'm in the field. I see icky, greasy, and gross. There are people out there like that. But when I think about somebody that's learning, the 20 minutes that I stood there and listened to what they were learning, and I thought, I've spent 19 months in this business.